So how we're going to do this is how many people have heard of the game Have You Ever? Hands up. Whoa. Oh, okay, about half the room. Okay. So basically, have you ever, I'm playing reverse have you ever. So have you ever is like you say, okay, for example, I'm going to give mine out now. Have you ever eaten a silkworm? Hands up. Oh man, I would have won this game. Oh no, I didn't win this game. Okay, so basically you want to come up with a have you ever question that no one else has ever done in the room that makes you super, super unique. So I see there's a couple more people who obviously have been to Korea and eaten silkworms as well. So I'm out. So we're not going to get through everyone, but I'm just basically just going to pick someone and then you need to come up with a have you ever question. And then hopefully you're the only person in the room that's ever done that. But if you find other people, then you know who else has, experienced that same experience with you. But if you can just go, oh, okay, so for example, I would have done, hi, I'm Wen, and have you ever? So introduce yourself, maybe even what you do, and then said the question, and then after that's done, I'll just pick the next person. Okay, so given that Kim Pong put up his hand for eating silkworm, go ahead, Kim Pong. Have you ever? What's your question? Oh, your audio. Sorry.
Can you hear me? Oh, no, you can't?
Oh, yes. Now we can.
Can you hear me right now? Yeah.
Yes.
All right, cool. So good morning,
everybody.
Too soft. Soft. Can you hear me better?
Slightly. Slightly.
Oh, no.
Very soft.
I have no idea why this often happens to me. But let me just do this really quickly. Got it. All right. Good morning, everybody. We are back. So have you ever seen a cat being ran over by a car?
Oh my God.
Terrible.
You looks got it. Oh man.
2 people in the room. Okay, you're out. Okay, Mr. Chan Yinglock.
It's me. Right. Have you ever locked yourself out of a car and couldn't get back into the car? All right.
Okay, Sharon next.
Oh, you had to pick on me, all right? I thought I told you I don't like this, but okay. Have you ever lived anywhere in Latin America? Live, not when, but live.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh, we have a winner here. Hold on. Hey! Hold on, let me check the other screen. Yeah, I think you have a winner. Good one. Okay. Where did you live, Sharon?
In Panama. 5.
Were you making hats across there? Is that why you were there?
Well, I wore a lot of the hats, but that's a good one too.
Okay, so for all those who've joined us, we're just doing a very quick icebreaker while waiting for everyone else to come in. And it's a game called Have You Ever? So basically you ask a question, have you ever? And hopefully you're the only person in the room that's ever done that. But so far, the only one who's been successful is Sharon. So I'm gonna ask Craig, give us your have you ever question.
Have you ever drunk kummus, which is a fermented horse's milk? It's really weird. They drink it in Kyrgyzstan, Central Asia.
Oh man, we have another winner. No one else has ever done that.
No,
Well,
I've done that.
Oh, wait.
You've done it. Okay.
Yeah, I live up. I have a sign, right?
Oh, okay. No go.
Okay.
Who else? Okay, hold on. Who else here thinks they have something they've done that no one else has done? If you put up your hand, and then we'll pick you to ask the question. Who's
Christy?
Christy. Okay, Christy, go ahead.
I think I got one. Good morning, everybody. Have you ever played the string bass on a concert stage?
So that's a double bass for all those from another part of the world. Who's played the double bass?
I have.
Oh!
Ah,
Who was that?
Who are you? I want to know who you are.
Sorry, Christy, not
Sorry, Christy.
Oh, that makes me really happy.
You have a fellow double bass player here.
They're rare. Double bass players are very rare. Okay, Mr. Tim Tan, go ahead.
What am I supposed to say? Sorry.
Unique you've done that no one else you think has ever done. Have you ever?
Okay. Have you ever eaten oysters while scuba diving? Live,
scuba
fresh
diving.
oysters while scuba diving.
Wow. Okay. I think you got everyone there.
Okay.
Oh, no. Hold on a minute. Tiff has. Sorry, Tiff, Tiff has done it.
Okay.
Okay, Tiff, you go. It sounds like you've done very interesting things in your life. Oh, Tiff, can she hear us? Nope.
Oh, I was just putting like a shock face. I didn't actually do it.
Oh!
It's just a reaction.
Okay, Tim Tan, you won that one. But Tiff, you've done very interesting things in your life.
Yeah. Have you ever hugged a cheetah before?
I have.
Wow. Ida has done some really interesting stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, someone that's new that's here, I can see a Stephanie from my Edu Soul. Would you like to ask a question?
Have you ever lost your wallet on a roller coaster and then found it again a week later?
Wow. No. Did anyone ever lost their wallet on a roller coaster in the first place? Why do you bring it up there? Is the question.
It was on my jacket and then it flew. And then someone found it. It was perfect.
Okay. How about the guys from I'm Soul Inc? Michelle and I can't see the other one. Do you guys have a question?
Hi, everyone. Have you ever been in the middle of a coup in a country?
Wow.
Whoa.
Christy, I'm not surprised. Okay, let's try.
Right, okay. Hi, I'm Michelle. Have you ever slept only 3 hours for a month?
Wow.
Well, because my little girl got chicken pox. Then the next week, the second one got chicken pox. And then the third week, my maid got chicken pox. And then my oldest girl got chicken pox. That's 4 weeks. Luckily, I already have chicken pox.
Okay, I think that tops the cake. Man, hats off to you. Cool. Well, it's 10:07. I think most people are here. Hopefully that's kind of broken the ice and you've gotten to know something about people. So I think now I'm going to hand the time over to Melvin, who's the chairman of TBN, to start the proper proceeding.
Hi everybody. I'm over here, right? I want to welcome every one of you. I think there are 45 people here. That's great. I'm Melvin. I'm the current chair of TBN Asia and also one of the co-founders. All right. So I just want to give a welcome to all the social entrepreneurs that are going through the SETH Cohort number 2. And then all the expertise network people, the mentors, the specialists, as well as the coaches. And of course, potential investors, as well as the TBN board and TBN team. So welcome, right? TBN, just give you an idea, TBN started about 6 years ago. Okay, we've been running conferences in Singapore and Indonesia and Malaysia for the last 5 years. Okay, we are actually part of an ecosystem of a TBN family that includes TBN East Africa, TBN UK, TBN USA, and then we have TBN Asia. We believe in fighting poverty through enterprise. That's our tagline, and we work with ecosystem that comes together with all the stakeholders to do that very challenging but very rewarding purpose of fighting poverty through enterprise, using collaboration, empowerment, dignity, hope, and restoration, right? So we are a family, a TBN family all around the world, but we're not related legally, but we are bound together by the same common vision and values. So TBN's expertise and professionalism is not so much corporate, although we are, but community. So that's our distinctive. And TBN uses what we call the 5 pillars as our ecosystem. So we have the SETH, which today is a launch of our second cohort, Social Enterprise Training Hub. We are not an accelerator. Actually, we are an enabler that helps social enterprise that are revenue generating to be investment ready, scalable. That's why in this ecosystem, we also have Investors Club. This comprises the impact investment funds. For example, TBN has got a partner investment fund called the Garden Impact Investment Fund, as well as investors clubs in the region that are comprising of people who are interested, individual investors as well as family offices and so on. So we bring all this together with an expertise network, which you will hear more from today, that comes to boost up and build capacity for the social enterprises. We run conferences and events that links up everybody, all the stakeholders together, the banks, the impact funds, the foundations, NGOs, social enterprises, and so on. And recently, sometime in the middle of this year, we started a resilience program that allows us to help social enterprises that are struggling during these times. So we have 2, I would say, startup resilience program, one in Malaysia, one in Indonesia, that offers grants, matchmaking, as well as really soft loans to help social enterprises during this time. So that's building the whole ecosystem, and we trust that at the end of it, at the end of this whole program, we actually make friends, because TBN is really about coming across in its approach as something that is soft, strategic, and scalable in a very tough and hard world as we face it together. So as our first cohort, I don't know if we are able to have some testimonies. I'm sure they will share. They are not just enterprises that have gone through a program with us, but they have become friends, firm friends. In fact, we continue to work and enable them and connect them with investors. So I trust that this will be something exciting for the second cohort. And we don't usually do more than 15. We just keep the number small so that there is more intense and deep engagement with that. So thank you, everybody. I right now hand the time over to Wayne. All right.
Okay. Well, thank you, Melvin, for the sharing and overview. Maybe I'll just tell you a little bit more as one of the inspirations, personal inspirations behind why I believe in the SETH program. Okay, so using a personal story. Okay, and I always like to say is an unglamorous story. I presume you guys can see my screen, right? Okay, good. If you Google Wayne Chia acquisition, you actually still see some of these articles floating around. I just checked last night, so I confirmed that it's still there, right? I did my own startup about 1.5 decades ago, and about 6.5 years in, it was acquired. Now, the media would always do a nice fanfare, give a very different version of the story and make it look more glamorous than it sounds. But the inside stories are what you don't hear. So today I'll just share with you the story behind the story. And rather than just telling you a linear story, I would prefer to share with you the 3 key lessons I learned throughout my entire acquisition journey. Okay. The first one, it will always take longer than you expect. Any M&A, if you ask anyone who has done it before, across the board, you will hear very consistently, they will always say it takes longer than they expect, right? Now, there are exceptions, but those are exceptions. I started the journey 3 years prior to when you saw the article published. It goes something like this. I read a quote that inspired me so much that I told myself I have to act on it, okay? Now, just as a background, we have tried at that point in time for about 2.5 years to raise funds, and we failed, okay? 2.5 years. We did everything we could. We built and killed different products, but somehow we could just never move the needle. Maybe it was also bad timing because at that point in time, venture funds were very, very, very rare, right? This is 1.5 years ago, 1.5 decades ago. So I told my co-founders, guys, if we want to be funded, we have to be prepared for it. My co-founders looked at me and gave me this very weird look. They were like, this must be one of Wayne's weird inspiration moments again. It's okay, you know, just leave him be. After a while, you know, as long as it doesn't bother us, let him do whatever he wants to do. So, okay, I decided that since I'm the inspired one, I'll do all the work, right? So I started consolidating all our paperwork. I printed out all our invoices, filed all our contracts, and I was going office by office. I had 3 offices back then. I started with Singapore, which is the headquarters. Was doing up Malaysia's one, and things were progressing quite well until 2 things happened. 1, I felt very, very sick. And 2, my financial system crashed, wiping out almost 5 years worth of bookkeeping, of which I had to manually reconstruct the books from scratch again. Okay, so now this is the problem. I'm sick and I have to start from scratch, right? Which really adds to the pain. Miraculously, just when we were about to give up, we met our acquirers. From the point when we met our acquirers until the acquisition actually happened was another 1 year, okay? So this is what I mean by it will always take longer than expected. And why did it take longer than expected? Okay, this is again my personal lesson, because the things that you paid the least attention to are the very same things that will trip you up. So in my case, it was the China's office books. So I went through Singapore, I went through Malaysia, but I never got down to China because I was sick and the financial system crashed, right? And I was actually doing the China's books out of Singapore. So there was a lot of messiness. Many a times our acquirers say, you know what, guys, your books are way too messy. We cannot make it happen, right? That's one. And there could be a lot of other small things that trip us up. Things like a very badly negotiated project because we were desperate. The money was decent, but the terms were very badly done. A grant agreement that we forgot to close off and had a repayment clause. A departing shareholder whose closeout agreement we didn't tie up properly. These are all the things that the auditors flagged out to our prospective acquirer back then. And these were the very things that we are like, we didn't even know these problems exist, but they came back and haunt us. Well, despite all that, we still somehow managed to pull through. And if anyone asked me today, well, Wayne, was it luck? I would say absolutely. Okay, absolutely, it was luck. But the question is, what is luck? So I'm going to throw this question to the floor. I don't know if anyone wants to unmute yourself and you want to just shout out the answer, or you want to type in the chat. What is the definition of luck to you? Okay, everyone is muted. Maybe you are very shy. Do you want to type out an answer instead?
I just thought when opportunity meets preparedness.
Well done. Full marks to Michelle, because that's exactly what I wrote, right? Today, this is a more common definition amongst entrepreneurs, which is great, right? So this leads me to my last lesson. You cannot control opportunity, but you can control preparedness. When everything failed, right? When the negotiations were going so tough, and you know the auditors were, my acquirers were not getting the right responses, we are not heading to the right direction. You know what held the whole deal together? It was the auditor's initial assessment of our books and the paper trail for the Malaysia and Singapore office that I did 3 years ago, right? Way before I fell sick. They told my acquirers that the books and the paper trails are quite clean. And because our headquarters was in Singapore, that meant that our Singapore books was quite clean. And that actually bought us all the leeway to cover for all the other messiness. Now, I started my story by sharing that there was this quote that inspired me. Well, now, you may be wondering, what's that quote? This is the quote. Prayer is asking for rain. Faith is bringing the umbrella. So if I'm going to rephrase this, prayer is asking for funding. Faith is producing the evidence that you're fundable. Okay? Well, this is my personal story and why I believe in SETH. Now, let me move a bit more into SETH itself. SETH is a program for social impact entrepreneurs to scale and prepare their enterprises towards securing their first major external round. Now, this sentence in itself has a lot of things I need to define, right? For one, it is scale and prepare. Prepare itself is not good enough, I'm afraid, right? Just showing me that you got good paper, good bookkeeping may not be good enough. We presume you are already on the process of scaling, but the preparedness we realize is something that often a lot of entrepreneurs don't know what being investment ready means. And the term major external funding means that, number one, when we say major, means it is not your friend, it is not your family members, it is not a grant, right? It is really, whether you look at it in terms of, is it debt, is it equity, is it a convertible loan, that is, we are not fussed about what vehicle or mechanism you use, but it is external. And we define major to say that it's not like, yeah, I got an angel investor, 5K. Okay, great, but the quantum in itself also tells a different story. It still feels like more like a friends and family kind of round. So we want to hope to get you to a round that's a bit more, that usually people define as, yeah, this is an external funding round. We can go into a bit more of the definitions later on. Now, SETH is not, this one is key. We always need to define what it is not. We are not an accelerator. We are not an incubator. We are not an assured funding program. In fact, if you associate us with any of this, we have written in clause 20 of the agreement, we are going to double your program fees. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just checking if you were paying attention to your program, to your legal agreement. We didn't have clause 20. Don't worry, it stops at clause 19 in case you didn't realize. But yes, we are not any of these. Now, is it because we don't believe in them? Don't get us wrong. We actually believe very much in the accelerator and incubator programs. In fact, there's so many of them that's doing a great job out there. We don't want to compete with them. We want to collaborate with them. We want them to do what they do best, while we kind of fill in the gaps a little bit. We want to fill in go into the areas that are less covered, and I'll explain what are some of this. One is, we understand that at this point in time, you may have been running your companies for enterprises for 3 to 5 years. This is the time where we call the valley of despair actually sets in. So we want to, first and foremost, want to reinvigorate you, which is why the next 2 workshops are all about you, your vision, your passion, why you do this. We want to make sure we come back and re-identify and reinvigorate you. We want to be able to sit down. Yes, there are a lot of great programs that tells you about your business models and stuff like that, right? And I still maintain the stand that they are essential. But I don't think there are enough programs that helps a social enterprise identify to say, this is one deal breaker area. You sign one exclusive contract with this one particular partner, and as a result of that, no investor is going to come in. Or you sign a non-dilutive clause with one of the shareholders that is going to just throw all future shareholders off. That's also not going to happen, right? So these are the kind of things that we can help to identify, and we have seen more and more of this showing up. We want to see if we can help you overcome some of that. And if possible, where necessary, if there's a deal structuring on the table that you need some help on, we would love to see how we can help. So these are what we mean by, we want to make sure we fill in the gaps that the other great programs are not covering. So we let them do what they do best. We try to do what we can do to help you do better. Just a quick recap of the SETH goals. This is the goals we set for ourselves. At the end of 2 years, 4 cohorts later, we want to be able to mobilize $1.5 million, which is, if you think about it, is not really a lot, but we want to start somewhere, right? And we want to do that through 20 SMEs. That means meaning you guys. 4 cohorts combined, we want to be able to create 500 new jobs, which will in turn touch 100,000 people. Again, these are not unrealistic targets. I personally believe that we can do way better than this. But the other important thing is that we also want to create a vibrant impact ecosystem. We have already seen evidence of that in SETH Cohort 1. We love the fact that some relationships are forged, and I would like to believe it's going to be lifelong. Not just between the social entrepreneurs and us, but also amongst the social entrepreneurs themselves, as well as the relationship with our volunteers and our expert volunteers, whether they are the business mentors, the advisors, or the coaches. So just to do a pause here before I go on and on, we just always want to acknowledge and thank the people who actually make this program possible. And this will be, okay, of course, first and foremost, the John Templeton Foundation. We want to thank them for believing in us to support us in this pilot run of this project. And of course, all our other ecosystem partners, which I'm very proud to say for Cohort 2, we have more partners on board. In fact, we have more that we haven't put the logos in just because we have not signed on the dotted line, but we are coming on. So these are only the ones that we are almost, we have kind of sealed the deal. We have Magic Malaysia, Garden Impact, YCAP Ventures, Singapore International Foundation, Raise Singapore, and of course, Strengths Asia and Explorer. So just want to thank all our funders, our supporters for your support, and this program would not have been possible without you. Thank you. Would be so much better, right, if it's live and you can actually hear the applause, but it's okay, we'll make do. Okay, so that's it pretty much as far as talking about the background and inspiration of SETH is concerned. Now, you probably don't want to just keep hearing about SETH from me, right? So we want to give you an inside view of SETH from the people who have gone through it. And today we are very blessed that we have Tamara, a participant from Cohort 1, and we have Sharon, who's a business mentor to Tamara. And this is how we are going to do it. We are going to break out into 2 breakout rooms. SETH Cohort 2 participants will join me and Tamara, while the rest of us will join Sharon and Christy, so you can hear their stories and their sharing. Is that okay? All right, Bernice, over to you. Hello and welcome back. I always call this the beam me up Scotty moment. In case you guys don't know what that is, right? It's always like, I always joke that this is a teleportation moment, right? So welcome back. All right, now we are now moving into a bit more of the highlight of the program, which is now we will start asking the individual SEs to share about themselves. And I'm talking about the folks who are in cohort 2, right? So just give me a second while I pull out the name list. Okay. But before that, I just want to also thank Sharon and Tamara for their generous sharing. I think it was, I always love hearing them share. And their stories are so heartfelt. I'm always very encouraged whenever I hear their stories from their perspective. Okay, give me a second. Okay, if we are all ready, we will start with our 1.5 minutes elevator pitch and company intro from each of our SEs. We will start with Made Easy. Marisa, would you like to take it away?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi. My name is Marisa. I'm from Made Easy. So Made Easy is an app that you can book cleaning services with. So we are a social enterprise according to the ministry in Malaysia because most of our cleaners are from the B40 community. So what makes Made Easy different from other cleaning companies is that we only employ 100% locals. So do you know that it's almost like a 700 million ringgit repatriated back to foreign countries in the domestic services industry? We want to keep that money in Malaysia so that Malaysians can enjoy the economic benefits in the domestic industry. So other than that, Made Easy it also wants to raise the health and safety standards of the domestic industry such as cleaning, because we've seen the exploitation that's done to the foreign workers in the domestic industry, that they work very hard with paid pittance and in dangerous conditions. We want to change all that. So that's how Made Easy is born.
Thank you. We'll move on to I'm Soul Inc.
Okay. Hi, I'm Michelle, and with me is Bruno. 7 years ago, I found out that music has such healing power, but it is really undertapped as a resource. And I found that many people cannot do so. So technology actually is a huge enabler. When I brought it back to Singapore, 7 years ago, it wasn't even the, aging, disability, loneliness, all this was not part of the conversation, not like now. And so I started I'm Soul Inc. to be able to enable every single person to tap that power of music and movement. But it wasn't just music the conventional way. It was using technology, because that gives the engagement and experience that would leave nobody behind. 7 years on the ground, we tested, we came up with programs, we found out about songs and everything, and our program worked and we achieved some level of success. Then COVID hit us, and most of our community work stopped. But it also gave us an opportunity to step back and really say, actually the problem we're trying to solve to enable all to make music has actually gotten bigger. The loneliness and the stress has actually gotten bigger, and we need to do more and better to reach out to people. So we used the time to think and to pivot, and we realized that now we have a plan to move forward. And the reason why we're here today is because we wanted to be able to do more and do better. We wanted to go digital so that we can reach out to more, to bring down the cost so that it's more accessible, more affordable for many people, including those at home. We wanted to use all our 7 years of knowledge to do AI, because we know where the data is, how to collect the data, and we've got ideas, and we want to be able to test and reach out to that community, and we want to learn so much more so that we can actually solve one of the biggest issues of our times. When they say it's like loneliness is a workplace, it's an epidemic, and with the fast aging populations, with people like 1 in 7 people in Singapore would experience a mental disorder during their lifetimes. These are actually shocking numbers. And we want to, like you say, invigorate. We want to pivot, and we want to be able to get more people to address this problem, because it's usually quite hidden, quite underlying. Most healthcare problems are dealt with through functional means. And we want to use music because it is something that is so universal, drug-free, and available to all.
We would love to hear more of that in the breakout rooms. Thank you so much, Michelle. And the musician in me agrees with you. I can tell from the instruments that I have in my room. Okay, so we'll move on to My EduSolve.
Thanks, Wayne. So growing up, I was a STAR student. That's another code word for student at risk. So I would come to classes and my teachers will tell me that, I know you, I've been asked to pray for you, and I hope you don't make a lot of troubles in my class. And I think, for me, I'm here today because people gave me a second, a third, and even 1,000 of chances. And the thing is, for most youth in Indonesia, they don't have these chances. And what we really want to do with My EduSolve is provide more people with chances through digital literacy by providing classes, certifications, and also competition in partnership with some of our partners like Microsoft, Adobe, and also AI for Impact. And our big vision is for us to be able to transform the workforce through digital literacy. Thank you, everyone. Looking forward to learn a lot from you.
Okay, let's move on to Dialogue in the Dark.
I'm Stevens. I run an academy that is built on the learning of dialogue in the dark, which is from Germany. So our mission is actually to yield more educated and economically enabled youths and children stricken with all forms of disabilities. We've been around for the past 8 years. And through partnerships, collaborations with stakeholders from the social, private, public, and also education sectors, we have, thank God, managed to impact about 100 disabled youths with skills, with jobs, with entrepreneurship as well, and also about 200 deaf and blind students studying in public schools to use technology to not just depend on disabled accessibility, but rather to make use of the technology to improve on their education. So moving on forward, we are hoping to build a theme park built on empathy and resilience, which we believe will be a post-COVID need when everybody will be looking towards resilience, and what more than the disabled people to show Malaysians what resilience is all about. Thank you.
Thank you, Stevens. Straw Innovation.
Good morning. I'm Craig Jameson from Straw Innovations, and I'm here with my colleague EJ, Geraldine. Say hi, Geraldine.
Hi. Good morning.
We're calling from the Philippines, actually from the same town, just the other side of each other's town. And we are in the business of getting clean energy to places where they don't have it at the moment. There's about 10% of the Philippine population are off-grid, and there are a lack of technologies to get reliable, clean energy to them. My specialism is bioenergy. And for the last 7 years or so, I've been leading international research on rice straw, the stems and leaves that are left after rice harvest. And we've developed an efficient system for collecting them and converting them to make biogas, which is a clean, storable, reliable baseload power. It can also be used for heat, but we're looking specifically at off-grid electricity production. And there's some good incentives from the Philippine government that will make that possible. And so we're developing the technology. We've got a pilot plant set up, which is one of the first of its kind in the world. And we're just getting ready to scale up and get this technology out to the people who need it. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Bakavila. Sukim.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here with two of my colleagues, Don and Yep. And before I start, I would like to ask you a question. Have you ever heard about moringa? If you haven't heard about moringa, I would like to introduce to you a little bit about moringa. Moringa is known as a superfood because it contains 10 times the vitamin A of carrots, 7 times the vitamin C of oranges, 7 times of calcium of milk, and 15 times of the potassium of banana, 25 times of the iron of the spinach, and more protein than any other vegetable, plus all 9 essential amino acids. And therefore, moringa is the most nutrient-dense vegetable in the world, and the global moringa market is poised to grow by $3.55 billion over the next 4 years, at the rate of 10% per annum. And I would like to introduce a little bit about Bagavila. Bagavila is a social enterprise based in Siem Reap, Cambodia. And it started in 2005, although we focused on moringa business in 2010. And we have recently been endorsed as the highest quality organic moringa producer in the world, managing the complete organic supply chain, from the farming to processing and packaging and export. We have been able to exceed the most stringent microbiological and heavy metal specification required by any buyer. And Bagavila is already the preferred supplier for the world's largest moringa production company based in the US, and also achieved approved supplier status for a major American agri-food production company who has exclusive contract with the world's largest food company. And the main reason why we reached this stage is because the vision of Bagavila is to focus on sustainability. And the 3 pillars, the sustainability is environment, because we are the organic producer, so we try to protect our environment by not using agrochemical products. And we also try to create a job in order to improve the social sustainability. And plus, we also try to export the Cambodian product in order to have to improve the economic of the country. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you. We will be hearing more from you in a bit. Let's move on to Ibu Premier.
Hi guys, I'm Aida, I'm co-founder of Ibupreneur from Malaysia. Our vision is to become a university for mothers because we believe mothers are anchors to majority of households here. So we aim to empower financially dependent and vulnerable mothers to grow into micro-entrepreneurs from their home-ready skills, particularly before the woman. Here that means a household that earns less than $1,000, single mothers, unemployed or retired women with low social security framework. So those who have a hard time making ends meet. So to ensure sustainable impact, we provide them with business tools and marketplace because these mothers, they have talent. You know, like we talk about luck. They are prepared, but they lack doors of opportunities to knock on. So this is where we come in. So currently we have been generating revenue and impact those mothers' lives from their home-baked goods. However, moving forward, our focus is to ensure they are tech-savvy micro-entrepreneurs earning income simply on their computers or phones to be more innovative. So that's why we're here and looking forward to connect with more of you.
Thank you so much. Ikodo.
Thank you, Wayne. So good morning, everyone. I'm Laras and here with my CFO, Pak Wahyu. We are from Ekodo Group, Indonesia. So Ekodo Group is e-commerce-based social enterprise. We connect SMEs with more than 12,000 clients through our B2B e-procurement platform. Up till now, we successfully sell over 200,000 pieces of SMEs products, and annually we receive more than 50 million inquiries. We just launched our microfinancing facility for SMEs in terms of this COVID crisis with platform up to 10,000 Sing dollars. By joining Ekodo platform, our SMEs revenues could increase to more than 600%, while before joining us, they only receive around 0.8 Sing dollar every day by selling their product traditionally in the offline store. Currently, we are in talks with several prospective investors today and tomorrow actually. And that's the reason we are joining SETH. So looking forward to giving impact together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I think this is the part whereby everyone is probably very interested to hear more about the individual SEs, right? So without further ado, I'm going to hand this time over to Bernice, who's going to brief us a little bit on how we are going to do that breakout, because this one is going to be a little bit more complicated.
Hi, everyone. So if you can please look in your chat, there are instructions on how you need to rename yourself. The SEs will be in 3 different rooms, and we will have we'll basically have 2 rounds of 20 minutes of networking. And so what you can do is choose 2 rooms that you would like to be in. The first room, you can change your name to room 1 or 2 or 3, and then I will move you into that room. And the SEs will already be in those rooms. So right now, I will open all the rooms and the SEs will already be there. You can decide according to the chat which room you want to be in. And then while you're in that room, we will have Wen, Christy, and Wayne moderating those rooms. And after 20 minutes, we'll all come back to this room, this main room, and then we will go break out again to another breakout room of your choice. So I will open all the rooms now, and then I will move you shortly. So again, if you're still here, please rename yourself. That will be the easiest way for me to move you into a room. Again, if you have questions on how to rename yourself, just find your photo and then the top 3 dots, you can change your name to that, and then we can move you into that room. So you can choose any room, 1, 2, or 3. Again, we'll have 2 different options. We'll 2 rounds of networking. For right now, you can choose one of the rooms, head there, and then in another 20 minutes, we will move you to another room. So again, I will paste the instructions on the rooms. Yingluck, do you have a room that you would like to be in? I think you're on mute. Here you go.
What are the choices?
There's the room 1, agriculture, straw innovation, and Baka Villa. Room 2 is commerce with Made Easy, I'm Soul, and Dialogue in the Dark. Room 3 is Ecodo, Ibrupreneur, and My Edu Solve.
Where is the Moringa one?
Moringa one? Okay, I can move you there.
Bacha Villa.
Yeah.
Can you put me in that one, please?
Sure. All right, we have Hello. I think John go, and we have Daniel. What rooms would you like me to move you to? Again, in the chat, there's the agriculture and 2 commerce rooms. I can move 3 of you in room 3 for now.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you guys had a very good time hearing and sharing and learning from one another. So we are coming to a closing segment. Just give me a second. Let me just pull out this one. Okay. If you guys can see my screen, this is pretty much just a quick recap. These are all the guys who are in all the social enterprises that made it to the cut for cohort 2. Congratulations once again. We are so happy to have you on board. And we are very happy to learn more about you. I hope the conversations have been very helpful. Okay, this is the part whereby we will release everyone except for the cohort 2 participants. If you guys are running, feel free to stay around. I'm just going through some admin matters. Feel free to join in, but if you need to run for your next meeting, by all means, go ahead. But before we do that, my colleagues reminded me, hey, Wayne, we cannot just let these people go just like that, right? Because some of them have not really signed up with us yet, and maybe this session has inspired them so much. I said, yeah, okay, what do we do? Remember to tell them that if you have not signed up, join us. Christy Davis leads our expertise network initiative. So you can join us as a business mentor, whereby it's more of if you are in the other session, it's more of a industry segment fit, right? So if the social enterprise is in aquaculture or is in e-commerce and you have that expertise and experience, they would greatly benefit from you. For specialist advisors, these are more cross-cutting, meaning that is it finance, is marketing, is sales, it could be logistics, supply chain. These are very specific, can be more transferable across industries. We need your help too. And then the third layer, which is a bit more unique to TBN Asia, is the coaching layer. Like we said, we are just as concerned about the entrepreneur as we are about the enterprise. So we want to make sure that the social entrepreneurs also get some form of personal coaching support, and that is the one that we are also building that layer. So Bernice, Tiff, can you paste the link to the sign up on the chat so that these good folks are able to click on them and sign up if they haven't already? Or is it an email that they have to reach out to you to?
Sure, Tiff will post it shortly.
Okay, so look out for that link or that email in the chat, okay? And last but not least, usually our advisors do double up also as trainers, but not always the case. If you have actually seen our program, we have only fixed the workshops for the first 3 months. And we leave the next 3 months, the subject for the next 3 months relatively open. Why? Because we've learned that there is no need for us to force fit a program or a certain area of training if the social enterprises think they don't need it. So we tried that out with cohort 1, seemed to work quite well. We are repeating that again for cohort 2, whereby we actually leave the subject for the workshops in the 4th to the 6th months relatively open, so that we can better cater. Now, it could be that the social enterprises actually request for a subject matter that is a little bit different from what we have already, and we may actually want to reach out to some of you guys for some help. Okay, so just keeping this open. If none of the top 3 above seems to kind of ring a bell for you, it's okay. We can still engage you as potentially a trainer for us. Either a core topic workshop, or it could also be a side topic workshop. It doesn't have to be a trainer for necessarily just a SETH workshop. Okay. Have we pasted the link? Sorry,
yes, it's in the chat.
Okay, great. All right, with that, thank you very much, everyone. Sorry, SETH Cohort 2 participants, you have to stay back, right? We still have some admin stuff to do. But for the rest of all the attendees, feel free to drop out if you have to run for your next meeting. I will just continue on with some administrative matters. Thank you so much. It's been great having you with us, and we hope to see you for some of our upcoming events. See ya. Okay. For you guys, admin matters, program outline as what I've mentioned just now. Months 1 to 3, we are doing workshops on vision, strategy, business planning. And then months 4, 5, and maybe up to 6, we will be doing more operational modules. Month 6 itself is very much just on pitching, right? In fact, one of the things we are going to do, which we should have done for cohort 1, is that from maybe the 2nd month onwards, we will have you pitch. So we will see how your pitch actually evolves over the 5-6 months. So if it's been a while since you last pitched, please get your pitch ready. Please get your pitch decks ready, because we will definitely be asking you to do it very soon. Okay. These trainings and workshops used to be a full day training in person. That was before COVID hit, of course. Now that COVID has hit, we have transited everything to virtual. And I understand that it's impossible to get you guys to sit in front of Zoom for 8 hours. I don't even think I can get you to sit down for 4 hours, to be honest. So the way we have done it is we are cutting it up into workshops of probably about 3 hours each max. Oh, the only exception is possibly the next one, which I'll talk more later. Just to make sure you remember it, we try to keep it on a consistent date, which is a Wednesday morning around this time. We may start a bit earlier, start a bit later, depending on the duration of the workshop, but generally it's around this time on a Wednesday. And to make it even more memorable for you guys, it will be the 1st and the 3rd Wednesday of every single month. The only exception is this month, because we have the kickoff, and then next week is workshop 1, and then 2 weeks later is workshop 2, right? But otherwise, you just need to remember that it's the 1st and the 3rd Wednesday of every month. Okay. By the way, guys, feel free to ask me any questions at this point, right? You can just unmute, because it's just us now. It's all pure admin matters. Some formalities, program fees. You guys still do ask me, like, why program fees? We say very simple. This is a highly subsidized program. Whatever you guys are paying us is not even enough to cover our costs, not even 20% of the cost. And actually, the only money that we are taking from you is to cover third-party costs. So for example, for the 2nd workshop, we actually have an assessment that we have to pay someone to do your assessment, right? So those assessment tests and stuff like that, this is purely for third-party costs. Very little money actually goes into our pocket, just to let you know, right? Agreements, I think most of you guys have signed. Yes, it is a bit more, there are some terms that could be a bit more stringent. We do apologize, but we have to be responsible to our funders. The guys who actually funded us to provide this program to you guys at a super subsidized rate. So we have to show that we are being accountable to them, and we have all this paperwork in place, right? As you've heard from my initial sharing, it is always the small things that you don't pay attention to later on that will come back and haunt you. So we want to get that out of the way. Also, as part of the accountability structure, we will be collecting 3 years of data from you, okay? Now, the data collection works 2 ways. It is not just for us to track your progress, but remember we said we will continue to try to support you for the next 12 months post the program. So if we don't have access to your data, we don't know how you're progressing, it's a lot harder for us to actually help you out in that aspect. Because we will try, and this is something we are moving towards, we will have monthly pitches in the Investors Club. Right now, most of these guys are likely to be from cohort 1. We also have a few more social enterprises that's within our ecosystem that we want to put them in front of the prospective investors. If we don't know how we are doing, we have no visibility of your finances, your business operations, it's a lot harder for us to recommend the right companies to put in front of the investors, because our credibility is also at stake, right? You can go around and check. This is quite standard. To track data for the next 2 to 3 years is very standard across incubator and accelerator programs. We are not doing anything new here, okay? The only thing is, you guys may be wondering, what data are we collecting? Generally 3. Overall business health, which we have a very simple metric that we will share with you. It's going to be a very simple framework. It's mostly quantitative, right? 8 times 9 matrix kind of thing. Finances, again, very standard. Your management accounts or audited accounts, depending on which country you're in. So your standard, your P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow statement. This one you should have. The tax man will come after you anyways, right? So again, I'm not asking for anything out of the blue. The only one that is really going to be very tricky and potentially a pain is your impact metrics. This one is always killer. But we also feel that this should not come as any surprise, because if you call yourselves a social enterprise, then the social impact must be very evident. We will try to work with you to kind of refine and sharpen that impact, as well as to see if we are actually measuring the right impact metrics. Most of you guys already are. From our own experience, you are. It's sometimes just a bit of a, if you made it here, your define is relatively, your impact is relatively defined and articulate already. So maybe it's just sharpening a little bit and repositioning a bit. We have another bunch of companies where their impact is not as defined. We are working with them separately as outside of SETH. Workshop attendance, I already mentioned, first and third Wednesday of every month. I believe all of you guys already submitted the names for who are your second person attending. But for certain sessions, some of the guys say, Wayne, can I have the third person attending? I said, generally, I have no issues, especially now they're gone virtual. The only thing is we want to make sure there's some regular attendance. We don't want a situation is always 2 or 3 different people attending the workshops, then there is no continuity across different workshops. So that's just the only thing we want to caution. So ideally, it will be always the same 2 person, and for certain sessions, if you say, oh, this is marketing, I must bring my marketing person in, by all means. You want to bring your salesperson in for the sales session, by all means. So we are relatively flexible on this, okay? I think some of you guys were asking us about program fees. How is it you going to make the transfer and stuff like that? Telegraphic transfer is great, but we do ask that if you were to do a telegraphic transfer, you have to cover the cost of the wiring, because depending on where you're wiring the money from, the intermediary charges can be quite significant. Someone asked about credit card payment. I cannot remember. Bernice, Tiff, what's the conclusion of that?
We're still looking into it. We'll get back to that person.
Okay, we will look into it. We cannot guarantee, because again, cross-border credit card charges can be quite hefty. So let's see, right? Ultimately, we want to make this painless for you guys as well. But you do understand we are working across countries, and we don't have a bank account in every single country. So that makes things a little bit tricky. We'll get back to you. Okay. All right. We're almost finishing. This is getting you guys ahead for the next workshop. This one is going to be a bit weird, I have to say, but it is the session that every one of our participants enjoy. We are doing Lego serious play for the next session. We are playing with Lego, right? We almost scraped this session because this can only be done in person. But Kim Pong and I worked very hard to see whether we can reinstate this, and finally we think it's possible. It's going to happen 9:30 Singapore time next week. I have a few things I need to ask of you guys. One is, please get your Lego bricks ready. I'm afraid we cannot ship it to every single country. I've asked Kim Pong to give some recommendations of Lego sets. Now, you don't have to buy. If you already have it at home, you know, enough variety of pieces and colors, at least 120 to 200 pieces, good enough. If you don't have it one readily, you cannot borrow for whatever reason, we have given some recommendations. I don't know whether you're able to get it off your local e-commerce store or the local shops. Try your best, because the whole session is about playing with the bricks. Okay, going to be very interesting. I guarantee you it's a different experience. Okay, there are a few things we need to be mindful of. One is to get the bricks. 2 is, we do ask that you sit together with your team. There's a reason behind this, right? So we wouldn't want you and your co-founder or your other team members to sit separately. As much as possible, sit together. I know it might be a bit of issue for some of you guys in countries where there's a lockdown and movement, control order. So that one, I don't know whether you guys are able to do it at all. There is a reason why we need to do this. If you have any challenges, please let us know in advance. I will consult Kim Pong to say how we can work around some of these constraints. Okay. The last one, which I need your help again, and because everyone is here, I originally scheduled it for 3.5 hours. This one in particular could be a bit more of a stretch if we factor in break time. Because it is longer, we want to factor in break. We may stretch it to 4 hours. So my question is, do you guys prefer to extend it later or start earlier? Because I know if I start earlier at 9 o'clock Singapore time, that's like 8 o'clock in Jakarta and Cambodia, I think. So I'm not sure whether is it too early. That's what I need to check with you guys. If you guys prefer to end a bit later, I will just adjust the calendar invite accordingly. What is your preference?
Maybe we'll just go around the table and ask each one.
Yes. Okay. I'll go around what I see in the screen. Baka Villa, do you guys prefer to start earlier or end later?
We prefer to end later.
Prefer to end later? Okay. Stephanie?
Earlier.
Start earlier. LJ, I presume you're taking down, right? Sorry, we cannot help. We cannot accommodate everyone. We'll just go in majority. Is that okay? Sorry, don't have a choice. Craig?
I'm okay either way, but I think probably my colleague EJ would slightly prefer later.
Okay.
Yeah, flexible.
I'm Soul Inc.
Earlier.
Earlier,
We both earlier. Both
Earlier.
us, yeah.
Okay, Ibu Premier?
Earlier, yeah.
Earlier. Dialogue in the Dark?
Earlier.
Earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. Ikodo?
Earlier is better for us.
Earlier.
Yes.
Okay. So LJ, what do we have?
Very clearly earlier.
Okay. I do apologize, guys. I will set the calendar invite half an hour earlier just to be safe. But I will also confirm with Kim Pong just to be very sure. Again, it's always a challenge when we work across time zones, and I want to give you guys back as much of your operating hours as possible because I know everyone's working. We have to make this kind of concessions here and there. I do apologize. Okay. That's it. Well, welcome aboard, guys. It's going to be a fun time together, 6 months that we'll be spending together. I think I've learned a lot more about you guys. I'm so glad to see all of you guys in person. I had my concerns actually because the first workshop was the most meaningful one for Cohort 1, where they see everyone in person. I don't know how this is going to work out, but I feel that, well, I got to see you guys in person. I got to speak to you guys. So I hope it's not just a one-way conversation about us and you, but you also learn more about your fellow cohort mates, your batch mates, and hopefully there will be some interesting ideas that is being exchanged, which happened in Cohort 1, quite a fair bit actually. So we hope that it will be fun. There'll be more partnerships and collaborations happening. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Before I go, any more questions in case you have anything that you need to ask?
Oh, Wayne, just on your message on the WhatsApp group.
Oh, okay. Give me a second.
Just checking that we need to create a WhatsApp group and...
Yeah, good question. Sorry, I forgot. We were so tempted to just create a WhatsApp group and add everyone in, but we know that we cannot do that without your permission. We have found WhatsApp to be one of the best communication methods simply because as social entrepreneurs, most of the time you guys are out and about, right? Emails probably won't reach you on time. So if you guys are okay, we will create a WhatsApp chat group and just add everyone in. Is that all right? Okay, no one has any violent objections, yeah? Okay, I see nods. Okay, this is recorded, so it's good enough as evidence for us. All right. Any more questions before we close this segment? I'll close up today, actually.
The only challenge I would have, Wayne, is the Lego bricks. As you know, I'm visually impaired. Could I sort of kidnap my wife to work with my colleague Lynn here to do that game? Would it be a challenge for me?
Stephen, you can kidnap anyone you want. The good thing is also in as much as this visual is also kinesthetic. I actually had you in mind when I was looking at this. Honestly speaking, I had that concern. It is also quite kinesthetic. Bong will tell you that feel the bricks. Don't just look at it. That's why it's a bit different. So yes, please get any assistance you need. But I also believe that you can also be just as participative. Yeah.
All right. I shall try, since we also play Lego in the dark as well with some of our
Oh,
participants.
this is cool. Okay, sure, let's talk about that one. But students, feel free to engage anyone else into the session as much as.
Okay. Thanks, Ray.
Most welcome. Any more questions? Most of you guys have sent the agreements in. Some of you guys have some questions on the final print. I can follow up with you separately via email on that if you have anything that you need, any burning questions that you need to ask. Anything else that is, any other questions on the next workshop or on the program, please let us know. Happy to address them.
Is there any prep work for next week apart from bringing the Lego?
No. Workshop 1, really just Lego and making sure that you put you and your co-founders in the same room as much as possible. That's the only one. The prep work, trust me, guys, will get more and more heavy in the subsequent workshops. We just let you guys off it.
That's okay. Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, if not, it's 12:07. I know that you guys need to run off to do your businesses. By all means, go ahead. If there are any questions, there will be the WhatsApp chat group that's been created anyway, so we can post questions there. Or I think most of you guys are already connected with me via WhatsApp or email. Just feel free to reach out direct or through Bernice. Okay. There's a lot more that we want to share with you, but we will, like we say, we don't want to scare you off. We will spread it out across the other workshops. Okay. Anything else, Tiff, Bernice? If not, welcome aboard. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you. Looking forward to it. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.